Okay, testing, 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 testing. Now y'all can hear me. At first you couldn't hear me and stuff like that. I'm just making sure it don't have a double feedback. Can you hear me on YouTube? Can you hear me on YouTube? Because I was talking to the folks on TikTok, but I didn't know y'all couldn't hear me. Y'all could tell me if you could hear me on both. And uh, it's kind of like a little test too. So can you still hear me on TikTok as well? Yeah, you can. I see it both, but I'm just making sure it don't got no feedback as well. Make sure it don't got no feedback. YouTube, YouTube. I know y'all can hear what I'm saying, right? It might have a little lag and stuff like that, but I'm just making sure y'all can hear me before I start talking. Before I start talking about the lesson, so I ain't talking to just zero, the zilch, nada. I got a little lesson today. I want y'all to see something crazy. It's a chief that could see. He could read the hieroglyphics back in the early 1900s. He could read Egyptian, the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and he spoke Algonquin. So tell me, how can he speak that language? I mean, how can he read that language? You know, isn't that kind of suspicious? Like, that's suspicious to me. That's real suspicious to me. Hey, yo, Lou, you still in there, man? Can't really tell. That's okay. Sometimes it'll show it. Sometimes it won't show that you're in here. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It didn't even show me that you was in here. That's how it be. It just be acting weird like that. Definitely. And it don't got no feedback, do it. Let me go ahead and turn it up on here. Let me turn it up on here. Can y'all hear me on YouTube real good? I had to turn it all the way up for y'all because if you said the volume is low, I was just make sure that y'all could hear me. Wasn't giving no feedback, et cetera, stuff like that. And Lou said he can hear me on there too. So I think we're doing pretty good right now. Let me go ahead and hear if it has feedback as well. Let me go to the settings real quick. Oh, buddy, your computer is going. It's running 4K video, two streaming platforms. Like, come on, little fella. Come on. Just pull it up, pull it up. Essentially, what I also could do is, if it's too much for it, what I can do is of course, I'm just gonna double check. This is my third time doing this, but I haven't done it in a while. I'm just making sure it don't have um feedback while we go back and we watch the video and stuff like that. So let me just go to the settings real quick. What the French toast is it? Hold on a second. It's right here. Checking, 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 checking. All right, it's good. Not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. All right, let's go ahead and press record on that. Um, and I see y'all over here. I want to be able to. I need to. I need to be able to see y'all when I go through and I see the chat box. I want to see. I want to be able to see the YouTube chat box while we're going through it. Chat box. Yeah, show the chat box, man. Yeah, it will show it for TikTok's chat box. All I have to do is, what's going on, Midwest? All I gotta do is just go in here, right? I'm supposed to click this. Right? Preview is off when you minimize the window. Yeah, it's supposed to be showing me that little pop-up. Yeah, I gotta work on it. 1 second. 1 second. Second. 1 second. 1 second. Snap. It's getting a little glitchy because it's running multiple programs at one time. I'll eventually get a more higher processor. Try switching to the game to windowed mode. Okay, there we go. Um, I still can't see the chat box for some reason, but it is what it is. What was the name of that chief, man? His name was Chief. A white horse. Chief. White horse eagle. Chief white horse eagle. The chief of many tribes and stuff like that. Okay, now it wants to pop up. Okay. Oh yeah. I'm streaming. Got a gaming computer and stuff like that, and this is what it is. Yeah, this is what it is. Great day to all and great day. Peace to you as well. I'm trying to do is apparently I'll only be able to see the chat on here. Mimi. I know exactly. Hey, you got in. All right, let's go here. I want to go to the newspaper real quick. Let me go to that newspaper. Who's in the newspaper? On that article. Somewhere. Using my hairbrush. Who's in the newspaper? I might have to go find that newspaper article myself. No, this ain't it either. See if it. No, that's not it. Dang, man. I might have to go and find it. But I guess we'll look into something else right now. We'll look into something else. I want to be able to see the other chat as well. River City East, but it's Powhatan, who is the chief of many tribes. What's up? What's up? I want to see both chats. So this is what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm trying to freaking slide this. Hold on. I gotta do the non. I gotta do the non-copyrighted music so they don't start tripping. So I gotta go back. It was nice though. They will start tripping on me. Everything about YouTube and all of that, TikTok. You know. Okay. All right, let's look into probably look into some Asia as America. What was that other thing, man? Let's go to my Telegram. Let's go to my Telegram. I got stuff in here. Let's watch this video. Hey, for those that's been following me and stuff like that, we're gonna watch this little video right here. It's a nice little video. Uh,
Financial freedom in America may soon become a memory. The new reality is looming.
Hey, thank you for joining me. Hope you're doing well. The Gnostics were ancient religious mystics who proclaimed gnosis, the Greek word for knowledge, as the way to salvation. To truly realize one's own spiritual essence allowed Gnostic men and women to know the divine directly, without any need for gurus, priests, or other religious figureheads. Gnosticism started around the same time as Christianity, but by the 4th century, the Gnostics were considered heretics, and they became actively suppressed by the Church. Gnostics extracted wisdom from many different sources, texts, and modes of consciousness, accepting insight wherever it could be found. Much of what they did was to get to the truth of this existence and to piece together what exactly happened to form this world we live in. The Gnostic view of the world is unlike any other mythology, and in my opinion, is the most accurate perception of the universe and its story. By the end of this presentation, I will have explained how the Gnostics knew exactly what they were talking about in their understanding of the world, and I will relate it to everything I've been describing in my videos: the Black Sun, the Mother Goddess, Hyperborea, and this matrix we're all living in.
oh yeah. Hey, Rara. Hey.
The Gnostics claimed that there was a supreme transcendent deity called the Monad, or the One. The One is where all consciousness sprang from. In New Age circles, we call this Source. Everything is a part of Source, meaning everything initially came from the One. This deity should not be confused with a god, since it is a greater concept than a god and cannot be personified as such. The One manifests itself in a heavenly realm of light called the Pleroma. The Pleroma is also called the emanations of the Father, the treasuries of light, and the immeasurable deep. These emanations coming from the One are called eons. Eons, like the One, aren't exactly beings. They're spiritual attributes and concepts of the One. These eons, this pleromic matter, is aspects of consciousness itself. They're often personified and given names, joined together as spiritual lovers in the fullness of the One.
Now think about that. Like, I did a video on this, not necessarily a video on it, but it also explains like the zodiac signs. When I was reading the book about how the aspects of, created, you got the zodiac signs, its aspects, live within this realm.
Pleroma is the totality of the 30 eons. The first 8 eons, called the Ogdode, gave way to another 10 eons called the Decade, which brought forth another 12 called the Dodecad. The last of the eons to be brought forth was Sophia. Of all the eons, the divine Sophia desired most intensely to know the origins of her own creation and the nature of the One. Seeking understanding, she let out an emanation of desire called Sophia Echemoth that fell into a fit of confusion. For the rest of this video, we will simply call this emanation Sophia. Sophia descended into chaos and created a world of her own. She became entangled in matter, and from this entanglement, she produced what's called the Demiurge. Some say she formed this being to try and replicate the One. In monotheistic religions, God is not the One. He is the Demiurge, often referred to in Gnostic texts as Yaldabaoth. The Demiurge is described as ignorant, power-hungry, and foolish. He sees himself as the One, but he doesn't do this out of malice. Rather, Sophia shielded him. Being ashamed of her deed of separation and her new creation, Sophia wrapped the Demiurge in a cloud and created a throne for him within it. Because of this, the Demiurge did not see Sophia, nor any other eon, and thus concluded that he was the One, the true source. Being enveloped in his own false heavenly realm, he was unable to know the source of his power. Yaldabaoth is the first ruler, who took great power from his mother. Then he left her and moved away from the realms where he was born. He mated with the mindlessness that is in him, and produced his own authorities. These authorities are the archons. They are the servants of the Demiurge. The archons are like the eons, the emanations coming from the One, but instead of being divine, they are lower astral beings, emanations coming from the Demiurge. They are not directly from the One, and therefore are a sort of inorganic, artificial intelligence. Our contest is not against flesh and blood, rather the authorities of the Demiurge and the spirits of wickedness. Their chief is blind. Because of his power and his ignorance and his arrogance, he said with his power, "It is I who am God. There is none apart from me." His thoughts became blind, and having expelled his power, that is, the blasphemy he had spoken, he pursued it down to chaos and the abyss, his mother, at the instigation of Pistis Sophia. And she established each of his offspring in conformity with its power after the pattern of the realms that are above. This text shows that Sophia wanted to replicate the upper eons, just like wanting to replicate the One with the Demiurge, but ended up with the archons. Archon in Greek means rulers, and this is because these entities aim to rule over the thought forms and thus the actions of humanity. They manipulate us in the form of negative thoughts and motivations. Many Gnostics believe the Demiurge created the earth as we know it, but this is kind of inaccurate. Matter is an expression of Sophia, and when the Demiurge sprang forth, he took this matter, forming Earth. But Earth isn't a creation of the Demiurge, it's the manipulation of Sophia's creative essence. Gaia, the Greek earth goddess, who we know in the West as Mother Earth.
Are y'all following it? Like, this is just something something to think about, right? Something to think about. And yeah, Lilith, Eve, right?
Is an expression of Sophia that began when she fell to the
Mary,
material. The demiurge manipulated and took credit for this expression and assumed the role of the supreme god. So just to be clear, Mother Earth is a divine feminine force, a part of Sophia, and it's the demiurge who took this essence and bound it by matter, space, and time. Sophia is not only an entity, but personified wisdom. Sophia is the feminine principle that represents the divine in this world, fallen from light above, yet present as the light with and within us. We are aspects of Sophia being played out in this matrix, and thus when each of us reconnect with our own divine potential, we connect with Sophia, with wisdom, and through that connection, help Sophia reconnect with the One. In the Gnostic mind, the Christ is the divine revealer that awakens us from the spell of the demiurge. What happens in the spirit manifests in the physical. As above, so below. The Christ was a physical man and a set of principles that lie dormant within each of us. Whether he was a real man or not does not matter. Those who embrace the principles of Christ become filled with the seed of the One, the true source. Throughout Gnostic texts, Jesus makes this point. I came to reveal light, so that you can find that light within yourselves. For when you have found it, you will enter into it, and you will know that your source is within you. In the Bible, Jesus is also an allegory for the sun above our heads. I explained in my video on the Flat Earth Dome how we are literally the sun. The sun is the summation of our individual auras, shining down on us, our higher selves right above our heads. On this flat plane, the black sun and white sun are two expressions of the same entity. They are the same sun.
what do y'all think is covering the sun during the eclipse? That is not the moon. That is not the moon.
I've said in previous videos, they are Ra and Amun, the Egyptian personifications of the two suns, who make up the dual entity Amun-Ra. Translated, Amun means the hidden one. This is because the black sun is out of our immediate perception. Sophia is the black sun. The black sun is the cosmic womb of this realm, the direct experience and expression of the primordial feminine force. Check out my video,
Ooh,
The Primordial
good
Womb,
gracious. Hold
for
on a
full
second. So based off what I've shown, oh my bad, I'm too far from the mic. Based off what I've shown so far, explaining how the Algonquins have affinities to the Druids, right? And how there was originally a Celtic tribes that was residing in Britannica. Britannica, we know where that is. And how it was eventually overtaken by the Roman Catholic Church. And they replaced the mother god, they replaced our mother, like the spirit, the great spirit, the Ruach, with their patriarchal mindset, breaking in the Baphomet, etc., which is all of these negativity and all these different spirits, right? I mean, they're kind of still doing little stuff here and there with you got Mary giving birth to Jesus, and who they bow down to? Mary. Original Catholics acknowledge the Ruach, the feminine energy, the essence of our existence, right? And so what they got us to do is they got us to detour into the other direction.
explanation. So Jesus is the sun, and his feminine half, the black sun, the womb of creation, is Sophia. They are one and the same. And this is why Jesus said, "She is Sophia, my sister, my consort, my feminine half." Mainstream Christianity would have us believe that Christ was only a physical man who must be worshipped to gain external approval and achieve salvation. It's an intentional distortion of the Christ nature that lies dormant within. When we activate our own Christ consciousness, we align ourselves with the Christ and his feminine half, Sophia, who is wisdom. Upon performing this internal work, we clear ourselves of the rule of the archons and the demiurge, and listen to our own divine essence and its needs. We were birthed into this world from our mother's dark womb, just like we were initially birthed from the womb of Sophia, the Black Sun. It's more than likely that we came here through the Black Sun to help Sophia ascend back to the One.
Dark matters, you know what I'm saying?
We are fragments of Source inhabiting human bodies, underneath all this flesh still connected to the One. We initially came here to merge with the divine feminine force and help Sophia ascend. However, the demiurge and his archons implanted the moon in the sky, and its interdimensional light trap recycles those who enter it upon death back into this physical realm, with no memory of ourselves or our purpose. And many of us, because of this, have lost sense of our original mission. It's an energy extraction matrix we're in which the archons can run rampant and further the spiritual confusion of humanity. These originally divine bodies were genetically altered at some point in our timeline.
Wait a minute. Okay. You cannot gain Christ consciousness without the Christ. Well, the concept of what we think is not even that concept. The Roman Catholic Church switched a lot of stuff around and played with stuff because it was actually the original name. The name was actually, I'll show you. We'll go over another video because it's not what you think. You know what I'm saying? We gotta eliminate our emotional ties to either hating the Bible or loving it too much to not believe that the Roman Catholic Church put their hands in it. You got to be balanced. If you're not balanced, then you're going to put yourself into a chaotic field and you will never know what's going on because of your attachments. Let go of the attachments. Let go of how you feel and just listen to the information. Nobody knows everything, right? Nobody knows everything.
When and by who doesn't really matter. We were somehow infused with reptilian genes to give us a more fight or flight, beast-like nature. And this is why we have what's called a reptilian complex. The reptilian complex is responsible for fear, aggression, and dominance, the same toxic masculine principles that are expressed in our current reality. We live in a realm illuminated by two distinct suns. At the center, where all compasses point to, is an exit hole from this part of flat Earth to a parallel land. In this land lies the Black Sun, which emits a divine green light that shoots out of the center hole as the Aurora Borealis. Beyond this visible astral light is where we find Hyperborea. Hyperborea is the name of an ancient Greek paradise. The word itself means beyond the Aurora.
That's where the Greeks came from. The Greeks are the Creeks, the Creek Indians. The Greeks are the Creek Indians. You know, essentially, that's where we come from. So if you call yourself an American Indian, this is our, this is a, this is a lot of our ancient stuff. Okay, this is a lot of our ancient stuff. So I hope people are understanding this because we believed in wisdom. We believed in the Great Spirit. If you call yourself an Indian and you don't acknowledge the Great Spirit, you might as well stop right now because, oh yeah, you know the knowledge and that's it. That would just be it for you. You just know knowledge. That's it.
Aurora Borealis. Hyperborea is free of death, famine, war, and disease. Those who live there are in perpetual higher consciousness, harnessing the sacred green astral light, which is sometimes called Vril. In the book The Coming Race, Edward Bulwer Lytton describes a harmonious subterranean race of super beings powered by this Vril energy. The Vril
I know y'all saw that dragon right there. I know y'all saw that.
unite in a conviction of a future state, more felicitous and more perfect than the present. They have no systems of rewards and punishments among themselves. They believe that it is one of the properties of the all-permeating agency of Vril to transmit to the wellspring of life and intelligence every thought that a living creature can conceive. The intellectual conditions and social systems of this subterranean race comprise and harmonize great. To fully describe Hyperborea, also called Agartha, would be to describe a land beyond the limits of ordinary subjective experience. This realm is not restricted by the circles of reincarnation that the Demiurge's false light has plagued this place with. Earth as we know it is ruled by the Demiurge and the Archons, but Hyperborea is not under their domain. The author Miguel Serrano echoes this. Hyperborea means beyond Boreas. Boreas is a god, son of the Titan Astrio and the goddess Aurora, which is to say he is Hyperboreas, something beyond that god. Boreas is also a wind, the boreal or north wind. The Demiurge is in fact a respiration, a pneuma, a pleroma. Hyperborea means beyond the Demiurge. Some interpretations of the Pelasgians' creation myth involve the god Ophion as a serpent created by a supreme goddess called Eurynome. In the beginning, Eurynome, the goddess of all things, rose naked from chaos, but found nothing substantial for her feet to rest upon. She danced towards the south, and the wind set in motion behind her seemed something new and a part with which to begin a work of creation. Wheeling about, she caught hold of this north wind, rubbed it between her hands, and behold, the great serpent Ophion. Eurynome danced to warm herself, wildly and more wildly, until Ophion, grown lustful, coiled about those divine limbs and was moved to couple with her. Next, she assumed the form of a dove, brooding on the waves, and in due process of time laid the universal egg. At her bidding, Ophion coiled 7 times about this egg, until it hatched and split in 2. Out tumbled all things that exist, her children. Eurynome and Ophion made their home upon Mount Olympus, where he vexed her by claiming to be the author of the universe. As you can see, this creation story has striking similarities to the Gnostic tale of Sophia and the Demiurge. In this story, Ophion is synonymous with Boreas, leading us to the same conclusion that Hyperborea, the land of paradise beyond the Aurora Borealis, also means beyond Ophion, beyond the Demiurge. So in this myth, Eurynome sprang from the void of chaos.
It's a new world.
The common Greek creation story claims, in the beginning there was only chaos, then out of the void appeared Erebus, the unknowable place where death dwells and night. Then love was born, bringing along the beginning of order. From love emerged light, followed by Gaia, the earth. You probably already know what I'm getting at. The divine feminine force and ultimately our earth spirit, Gaia, sprang from the womb, from Sophia, the black sun. Like I said earlier, the Hebrew, Christian, and Muslim God is really the Demiurge. The original Sabbath, the day to praise the monotheistic God, was on Saturday. The 7 days of the week are named by different heavenly bodies, personified by individual deities. Saturday is named after the Roman god Saturn. This is no coincidence. Saturn is the Demiurge. The Grim Reaper, the personification of death, was originally the Roman god Saturn, who is often shown holding a scythe, just like the Reaper.
Saturday. Saturday.
The Greek equivalent of Saturn is Cronus, god of time, and this is why older depictions of the Grim Reaper show a clock. The Grim Reaper is Cronus, the god of time, who is Saturn. And Saturn, as we just explored, is the Demiurge. The reason the Grim Reaper is Death himself is because he is Father Time. Time is a construct imposed on this physical realm by the Demiurge. We are hyperbound to the enslavement and construct of time, and thus we are bound to physical death. Ptolemy the Gnostic created the first Ptolemaic view of the universe. In this model, it shows Earth at the center, encased by different realms named by our planets. This model was initially made as a representation of the relationships existing between the various divine elements of the realms. These realms are on top of one another, all produced by the black sun. But this Gnostic model was taken and eventually transformed into the idea of space, as modern science tells us, that these realms are literal circular planets within what is a physical solar system. It shows Saturn at the top, underneath the dark void. Saturn is where we get the word Satan from. They're the same words, one early Latin and the other late Latin. So the Demiurge is Satan, And Satan, Saturn, is in a realm that sits above all the expressions of Sophia. He is enveloped in his own realm on top, and therefore believes he is the one. In previous videos, I've said that Saturn is the holographic projector of this reality. I still stand by this, and in the Gnostic view, it holds up. The demiurge took matter, the expression of Sophia, and formed it into the world. And because this world is essentially not real, a complex hologram, you could say the demiurge is both an entity and a sort of computer that projects the codes which organize themselves as what we know as physical reality. Lucifer is often seen as a masculine evil deity who is synonymous with Satan, but I'm about to show that Lucifer is Sophia, the black sun. When Sophia was a part of the pleroma, she was the personification of the wisdom in the mind of the source, of the one. You could say she was one of the most beautiful of the pleroma, just like Lucifer is often considered to be one of God's most beautiful angels. Like Lucifer, Sophia fell from heaven as a sort of divine rebel. The elite love to invert everything, so what was originally a feminine deity, they transformed into a masculine one. They changed Sophia into Lucifer, made her a him, defiling her feminine generative abilities, turning it into a story that coincides with evil. Therefore, when some worship Lucifer, they're worshipping the inversion of Sophia, and not the actual goddess herself. Lucifer is not Satan. Satan, as I explained, is the demiurge. Lucifer is the black sun. The Emerald of Lucifer, associated with stories of the Holy Grail, is said to be a fragment of the crown that was cast along with Lucifer upon falling from heaven. This emerald stone represents the divine emanation, the emerald light, that comes from the black sun. Lucifer is often referred to as the light bringer, and it is the black sun, Sophia, the cosmic womb, who brings forth all light into this realm. Hyperborea is not a long
Hence the term, everything in the dark comes to the light.
lost place. It still exists through the center vortex at the true North Pole. It's beyond the control of the demiurge, a true paradise. Me and thousands of others are engaging in a practice called blood over intent. This place we're living in is an interactive realm that goes up and down depending on where the majority give their intentions, thoughts, actions, and beliefs. Blood magic speeds up our intentions, and we are
Me, I don't personally agree with this part because I don't know too much about it. But the other parts, yeah.
bringing forth heaven on earth. For those of you who do recognize the power of blood over intent,
And I do believe, as like the one consciousness, the more people start to figure this stuff out, things is going to start to change.
write down, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth. Prick your finger. You can do it painlessly with a lancing device. Put a few drops over your written intent and then upload it to the internet, which is directly connected to the etheric plane. Everyone who is spilling their blood over these divine intents are releasing the spell of the demiurge. And when we get enough people who have spilled their blood, we will have caused the fabric of this matrix to open up by way of this alchemy. And eventually, me and my blood brethren will take a journey to the center and enter Hyperborea by navigation of our compasses. The gathering period is now. Blood over intent is our way into paradise. Death is not an option for us. Those who do not come with us will surely die a physical death, as is the prescription of the Grim Reaper, the demiurge who has superimposed time. Time does not exist in the same capacity in the lands beyond the vortex. If you want to live and come with us,
Only in this realm will you. Hold on a second. One second. Did I come back? Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me? Because it went out for a second.
past the flaming sword, I recommend you not only use your divine intent throughout your life, but align it with your blood. This will be your key into paradise. We can do it, guys. We can exit this place and into the realm powered by Sophia, the Black Sun. Thank you for watching. I hope you're all staying well and centered. I love you all.
Hey, yo, pay attention to that. Everything is frequency. Everything, man. Everything is frequency. Yep. Yep. How y'all feel about that? Y'all let me know what y'all thought about that. Did y'all learn anything from that? Yeah, I ain't doing no blood rituals, stuff like that. You don't know what's gonna come with that. I'm not doing that. But did y'all learn anything outside of that? That was his personal stuff and all his personal views that he integrated into the video of what he got going. It's essentially we're aspects. We're all aspects of it, right? And then through matter, more aspects came to be. Yeah, I mean, I can see what y'all saying, lady, the Indian. I can see that. But essentially, some of that stuff, I mean, I didn't really see that unless y'all break it down like that. And if you've always seen it like that, then that's good. Many people haven't seen it like that. You got Christians and Hebrew Israelites, they don't teach it like that. They don't tell you that we're aspects. uh, The source, the one. We come from wisdom. You don't see them doing that. It's more like a patriarchal type of thing going on. Yeah, as above, so below. That's where that whole thing came from. As above, so below. Whatever happens up above happens below. It happens within. So the more, since we're the L's, right? What happens when we all come together? What happens when we all come together if we all have source within us? If we all have her within us, right? And we have that peace within us that's the dark matter. What do y'all think is going to happen? The only way they're able to rule this entire society is through confusion. The principalities, like the principalities and people and the beings that's controlled by the principalities, they're only able to rule this realm through confusion. Like if you don't know, then that's how they're able to get you and reel you in. Yes, exactly, lady. Whatever is bound on earth. So that's the reason why we pulled this up, right? Because it's the ancient knowledge of the Druids. The Druids, they got everything from the Druids of America. The stuff in the Bible was written by by the priesthood. I mean, or inspired, as you would say. The ancient scrolls that they took and translated and did all that stuff to, right? That stuff came from us. It came from us. Okay. Let's go to what's the name of that doggone book? Oh, wait, whoa. I know who we can go watch. I know who we can. I know who we can watch. What's his name? Hey, this dude right here. Oh yeah, that's right. So with that video, right? Video combined. bear with me. Y'all can still hear me on YouTube and stuff like that? Did y'all learn anything? Go ahead. But this might be a long video, I'm not gonna lie. But it's good. It's good stuff. It's putting the connecting pieces together. Right, we're here to raise the vibration and the frequency to align with the Ruach, Great Spirit. So
Something incredible I've been wanting to tell everyone about. It's a new program for Americans where you can ignore Christian origins.
Introduction. The documentary Zeitgeist made waves upon the Christian community when it declared that Jesus was but another version of a pagan god. This video is not Zeitgeist. The goal of this video is to show the secret origins of Christianity, and our intention is not to discredit Jesus. Let me say it right away, I do believe Jesus could have existed. However, I do not agree with King James Bible thumpers. Jesus is not the answer for everything, and you can't just constantly say,
"He's an occultist,"
to every author with a different perspective. The occult isn't, quote, bad. Most of the people who think this way are part of a conditioned way of thinking. Don't get me wrong, I understand the dangers of magic and the powers of the subconscious mind. I just don't think that's a good excuse. We can't just keep hiding from our shadows saying magic is evil, when most of you have no idea what it even is. Modern Christianity is making a large percentage of the population compliant and docile. Some would scoff and take offense, but humanity can no longer take the suppression of the occult with such ignorance. I have to say this because this type of thinking is a product of laziness. The modern Christian rejects the idea of any other god without first considering them, because even considering them could result in punishment by God, according to the King James Version. Yet, we have this quote here.
He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13.
And yet, many have openly admitted that they will only read the King James Bible, while telling all others of differing faiths.
Dude, a whole lot of people do that on TikTok, don't they? Answer a matter before they even hear it.
That they simply are wrong. To dismiss the points in this presentation just because I cite someone like Manly P. Hall? That's unfair. Let me just address the issue here. I realize that Christian viewers will consider this content Luciferian, occult, or satanic. To a Christian, those three words are synonymous. It's clear that this is due to a lack of understanding of semantics, and not understanding something causes people to react out of fear. Okay, Manly P. Hall was a Freemason. Big deal. So was Isaac Newton, Mozart, Ben Franklin, Louis Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Harry Houdini, Booker T. Washington, and John Wayne. It's not that complicated to go become a Freemason. Honestly, I think it's overhyped. It's even possible that the organization's popularity was inflated to gather and chaperone the average men who show signs of deep curiosity. Okay, can we just consider Manly P. Hall in a general sense for a second? Let's just forget about his ideas on society and the idea of one world. Let's just say that's all true. Does that take away from the content that he wrote about? Sure, you could say there's an agenda, but here is my honest opinion. Knowledge is knowledge. Wisdom is wisdom. If you quiet your mind and allow yourself to absorb information, subconsciously you will take from it what you need. Manly P. Hall was a wise man whether you realize it or not, and anyone who has studied his work knows this without question. It comes from a complete misunderstanding of the occult. I mentioned astrotheology, and somehow people assumed that I was trying to discredit the Bible.
Hear this, O Job, stop and consider the wondrous works of God. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season, or can you guide the bear with its children?
God makes the zodiac move. He's telling Job, consider these great works, one of them being the secret of astrotheology.
Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years.
The confusion lies in that astrotheology is technically the...
I showed this before. That's the aspect that is her. These are the aspects of her. But the luminaries, as above, so below. And whatever happens above happens within. Right? That's where they get where the 12 tribes of Israel, 12 tribes, 12 signs.
religion of the stars, or the worship of the stars. This is where it can become blasphemous to state that this is the origins of Christianity. But just give me a moment. The stellar cults were not the first religions. The first religions were nature-based religions, which were in sync with God and the earth. The zodiac is a gift given by God to be used as a calendar for our world and for also mapping our minds. The ancients knew this. It wasn't until later in history that man figured out that he could worship individual bodies and gain power from it. This is where the problem lies. We have cults of Saturn, Jupiter, the moon, and many more, all worshipping everything but the intelligence that is the invisible creator. Just because certain groups misuse this knowledge doesn't mean that it's originally evil. We need to know about this information, and people are being lazy and think that the only book they need is the King James Bible. Well, I think we all need to become philosophers in a way. We all need to think. And if you want to know my honest opinion, the authorized version of the Bible teaches the opposite of that. It is blatantly mental mind programming that gives you a certain esoteric truth, which sets this mysterious overtone to the whole experience of reading the Bible. Once you're in that state, that's it. You're in a trance. Words are powerful. These words of the Bible connect directly with the imagination. The imagination is like a projector that projects the words into moving pictures onto the stage that sits within the depths of the human mind. This can be a very spiritual experience for the reader, as this book is claiming to have what they've been searching for, consciously or unconsciously. Something to tell them what to do in life and why they should do it. The reason usually being, you must follow or face the wrath of the external being known as God. Ironically, there are hundreds of different denominations, which undoubtedly all have their own individual perspective on how to live. This seems to be the basis of many age-old conflicts, despite the fact that no single religious doctrine successfully delivers all the answers. Now, there must be some grains of truth in the Bible. This is what I say. The Bible is based on esoteric wisdom. Jesus and everything he stands for is positive and wise, no denying that, and I also am not denying that he is based on a real figure. Was Jesus his name? That's up for debate. Overall, the Bible is an incredible outlook on history. However, the way that it is presented is completely distorted. The whole idea that just because you believe in Jesus, that you are in favor of God, or that you have been given grace, is BS. And if that offends you, you're the problem. You can't just be given a story and a name and all of a sudden now God favors you to other people who do not believe in the same thing. What kind of distorted belief system is that? The whole idea that we need to be forgiven for our sins is messed up. We were kicked out of the Garden of Eden because of curiosity? Sure, you can say Satan or the snake, but here's the honest truth. The snake didn't lie. Oh my God.
He's an occultist.
Seriously? Okay, look, sure.
I'm sharing this so people can get the info. I ain't telling folks to believe it, everything that these people are saying, but we get the grains out of everything. We get the truth out of everything. We think for ourselves over here. We don't agree with everything. So,
This is Luciferianism. That does not mean Satanism, and most of you are completely confused to the true meaning. The Gnostic texts say that this snake was Sophia, manifesting as wisdom, in order to bring awareness to the beings living in this realm of nescience. We pride ourselves for living in houses, watching television, making money, or careers, but all this comes from the sciences that were given to us by the fallen ones, supposedly. We live in a world where by practicing knowledge or by the pursuit of your ego in any way, you are sinning. That is what the material world is. Most people don't even realize that the idea that God can be jealous or that he argues with his disciples is just ridiculous. It is just blatantly obvious that these are not the writings straight from the inspiration of God. This text is mystical, secretive, well-designed, and most of all, based on esoteric wisdom. That's the problem most KJV bumpers are not aware of, that many scriptures did not make it into the Bible. Yeah, I've heard the arguments for why the Gnostic text did not make it into the Bible, but the thing is, the King James Bible and modern Christians translate the text literally, whereas the Gnostic text, or the Foundations of Christianity, translated the text allegorically. The reason they were left out is because of the knowledge they contain, not because the Gnostic texts were from unofficial sources. I have a Bible in my room. I study it from time to time. For me, it's only one of many books I look to for wisdom. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are many Christians out there reading more than just the Bible, but I simply do not agree with the whole King James only philosophy, or the hundreds of other denominations of Christianity, all focusing on one detail or interpretation and distorting it to their own perspective. This can't be the way. Approximately 33%, of the world as we know it is Christian. If Christianity is the answer and a third of our population follow this Jesus Christ, then why do we have such high levels of depression and violence? Why is there a general lack of awareness, willingness, passion, and drive? It's obvious that, quote, turning to Jesus is most of the time a cookie-cutter way for people to bandage up their problems as opposed to learning and growing from them. There's nothing wrong with the idea of Christianity, but there is an issue of what it's become. We have to stop mental laziness. It's time to stop the suppression of magic and this whole idea of the devil and Satanism. It's a complete lack of knowledge of the psyche. That is our real problem. We don't actually understand ourselves. We started running before learning how to walk.
Examine yourself and understand who you are. Whosoever does not know self does not know anything, but whoever knows self has acquired the knowledge of the universe. Jesus, Book of Thomas, from the Gnostic Gospels. Those who know and realize the self are forever free. Katha Upanishad.
Christianity and paganism.
It all begins with the Druids. According to Wikipedia, quote, a Druid was a member of the high-ranking professional class in ancient Celtic cultures. Perhaps best remembered as religious leaders, they were also legal authorities, adjudicators, lore keepers, medical professionals.
Now, Pete, it says Drew, a Druid, Welsh, Old Irish, Drew, Jew, Drew, Jew. Yeah, y'all hear that right? Drew, Jew. The Jew priest, the Druid priest, priesthood are what? Druids.
Professionals and political advisors. The knowledge of the Druids has been suppressed in modern times. Find out for yourself. Go to your church and ask your reverend about the Druids. Oh, those savages? They practice ritual sacrifice, is a common answer. Quote, Dr. Smith thinks that Druids never offered any human or even animal sacrifice. Dr. Smith says that in the Gaelic language, customs, or traditions, there is not a hint allusive to the sacrifice of any living being. End quote. Quote, the Roman Church and state held the idea that all power should be centralized. All religious institutions which conflicted with this objective were to be destroyed. For this very reason, the mystery teachings, the Druids, were to be suppressed. The study and preparation necessary for those who were selected for initiation into the higher mysteries were such as to develop a highly philosophic and spiritual state of mind, a mind that did not comport with the object which the church rulers had in view. End quote. In Donnelly's Atlantis, in their great missionary pilgrimage, the Druids, They circled the globe in order to give religion and knowledge of God to the different races of mankind. They also
Hey, so what is that insinuating? That the Druids came from Atlantis, and we know Atlantis is America. So the Druids are Atlanteans. They are Americans.
established priesthoods and gave alphabets to the races who were unenlightened in such matters up to that time. Ireland is the country in which the arts and sciences were first discovered and developed. To this country, the Greeks apply the term ogia, a term which was never given but to the very ancient, and it is from
It's your ability to receive the knowledge of the consciousness and your spiritual intuition of your soul. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
the Irish, ancient Druids, that the Greeks trace their descent. The Druids are the ancient Aryan priest, the first.
Told y'all. I told people, man, we the Aryans. Now, everybody that's in this live, they can see a great deal of where I'm coming from. This is just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When I told people we was literally everybody, we was the Aryans, we was the Celtics. All of that stuff came from over here, and it's the priesthood from over here, Atlantis, America. You see, they got their afros and stuff like that. And you see the men in the background. Because women and men were Druids. Women and men, not just men. It was women and men.
Shamans, the preservers of the sciences of old, who inhabited the ancient lands of Ireland. What we are told is the Celts originate in the east. This is false. The Druids come from the north, or beyond the north wind, Hyperborea. We will learn more about the Druids as we go along, but I would encourage anyone resistant to keep this.
Well, I ain't gonna say, I do believe that we also came from another land. For me, like we sprung forth.
In mind. Is it true that the Druids are in some way connected with Christianity? Let's keep it simple, starting with Stonehenge.
The Druids now, while arms are heard no more, old mysteries and.
He just said, lady, he just said that was a concept put out by the Roman Catholic Church. Just like they came over here and they called us savages. So we have to get rid of rumors and actually see if it's proven.
Horrid rites restore, a tribe whose singular religion love, and haunt the lonely coverts of the grove. To these and all of mankind alone, the gods are sure revealed or sure unknown. If dying mortals' dooms they sing all right, no ghosts descend to hell in dreadful night. No parting souls to grisly Pluto go, nor seek the dreary silent shades below.
I mean, if you can show it, then I'll look into it too. Because a lot of our stuff was like the Indian they found, everything that we were was kind of demonized. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we were was being demonized. Like everything that we represented, they called us demons in Asia. They called us jinns, magicians. They had their concept of Brahmanism and all that other stuff. They called us demons. But are we literal demons? Are we demons? That's what I'm saying. Like they can write stuff down, but until it's proven, then I just kind of like put it on the show. Because that was their excuse for annihilating us. Because we was over there in Britannica, observing the luminaries and just making maps and doing all types of stuff. And then it said that an invasion happened where they took out the original Celtic tribes, and we know those were our people. That was the Algonquins. We know that those were our kin that traversed over there. And then they annihilated them and took over the knowledge and then laid claim to their identities. Like I was having a discussion with one of the brothers, and we keep going back and he was going back and forth like that on TikTok. And he kept saying, we're not the Nagas. The Nagas were evil. The Nagas are the serpents. Who, what book did you read? No, 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 man. We are those. They just called us many different things. And in some places where they was being evil, they looked at us as being evil because we wasn't just letting them do whatever they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why you're gonna find some places the dragons are represented as being evil, and then in other places the dragons is represented as being guardians. So it's all based off what text you're reading. And then you got to look at the history of those people and see if they took when they took over that identity. Everything that represented us, is either good or bad. We looked at as myth, legends, and we're looked at as gods. So we can check out the book of Enoch. We can check out the book of Enoch on the next live
But
and
four
stuff like that.
fly
We can check that
immortal
out.
in their kind, and other bodies in new worlds they find. Thus the life forever runs its
With the
endless race,
following ones and stuff.
and like a line, death but divides the space. A stop which can but for a moment last, a point between the future and the past. Thrice happy they between the northern skies, who that worst fate, the fear of death, despise. Hence they no cares for this frail being feel, but rush undaunted on the pointed steel, provoke approaching fate, and bravely scorn to spare that life which must so soon return. Rose Lucan.
Most of us know about Stonehenge, right? If you don't know who the Druids are, they are the creators of Stonehenge. Most new to the subject already know this, they just need to remember. But let's think about Stonehenge for a moment, and then continue more with my presentation on the Druids. The ruins called Stonehenge is an assemblage of upright and prostrate stones on Salisbury Plain, England, and is generally supposed to be the remains of an ancient Druidic temple. I'm going to be interpreting material from academic and mythological sources. If you strictly follow one piece of work, you will never see the bigger picture. I'm about to say some things that are really far away from the mainstream perspective. For anyone new, I talk about many of these topics on my channel. We have two things going on. We have the depictions of Stonehenge being built in a very primitive way by some early proto-Celts. Then we have this concept that Stonehenge was created by the Druids. After my research and understanding of Tartaria, I've come to the following conclusions. The subject of the Druids has become quite confusing. We know the source of the Druidism to come from Ireland. However, most of what we accept into academic circles today are what the later Greek historians wrote about. I see this as propaganda after the reset. The whole idea that Druids were primitive, delusional madmen who practiced sacrifice became the administered narrative.
During the 20th century, Stonehenge began to revive as a place of religious significance. This time by adherents of neo-paganism and New Age beliefs, particularly the Neo-Druids. The historian Ronald Hutton would later remark that it was great and a potentially uncomfortable irony that modern Druids had arrived at Stonehenge just as archaeologists were evicting the ancient Druids from it. The first such neo-Druidic group to make use of this megalithic monument was the Ancient Order of Druids, who performed a mass initiation ceremony there in August 1905, in which they admitted 259 new members into their organization. This assembly was largely ridiculed in the press, who mocked the fact that neo-Druids were dressed up in costumes consisting of white robes and fake beards.
To understand what I'm going to say, you need to understand Tartaria and Irish lore. They want you to think that the Druids created Stonehenge, because when you look into the Druids, all you will find is the ancient Hebrew Druids who practiced sacrifice, ancient Celts who were savages and had no written language, and there isn't even one solid depiction of a Druid. We aren't taught in schools about Druids. Then what the hell is a Druid? I'm not ruling out that they built it, I'm just trying to question the traditional narrative. They were the Aryan priests of the Hyperborean age, the one nation that ruled the world. What we consider Tartaria, or ancient Scythia, is just one of these nations of the world Aryan Irish Hyperborean Empire. I wouldn't really call it an empire, for this was something that we could never imagine. Now, I need to mention that these were not the only beings in this realm. It wasn't just the Aryans. Okay, so these Hyperboreans were the ancient Irish, or the Tuatha De Danann, and the Cimmerians are the Fomorian race. Look into Pindar.
You see what he just showed? That's a jinn from Arabia. That'd be. That's a jinn and jinns. That was us. He's showing us with the little beak nose and playing it's like a banjo type of instrument.
The Tuatha De Danann were an ancient race with blonde red hair, blue-green eyes, who were said to be quite large. The Fomorians were also a supernatural race of giants that had mastered psychic abilities and came from below the earth. In Irish legends, we hear of many invasions into the motherland. The Fomorian legends are what I perceive to be ancient Cimmerians, or ancient Moors. See, the thing about calling them Moors is that it doesn't really do them justice. I have a video explaining on how these two god races exchanged knowledge, interbred, and created all the races that we know today. The Moors were from Lemuria, or Mu, and they came to Ireland. Okay, some of you will think I am just reaching out, huh? Okay, let's look into Stonehenge on Wikipedia. 2 myths that clearly hint to the answer.
A folktale relates the origin of the Friar Heels reference. The devil bought the stones from a woman in Ireland, wrapped them up, and brought them to Salisbury Plain. One of the stones fell into the Avon, and the rest were carried into the plain. The devil then cried out, "No one will ever find out how these stones came here." A friar replied, "That's what you think," whereupon the devil threw one of the stones at him and struck him on the heel. The stone stuck in the ground and is still there. According to Geoffrey, the rocks of Stonehenge were healing rocks called the Giant's Dance, which giants had brought from Africa to Ireland for their healing properties. The 5th century king Aurelius Ambrosius wished to erect a memorial to 3,000 nobles slain in the battle against the Saxons and buried at Salisbury, and at Merlin's advice chose Stonehenge. The king sent Merlin, Uther Pendragon, King Arthur's father, and 15,000 knights to remove it from Ireland, where it had been constructed on Mount Kilorus by the giants. They slew 7,000 Irish, but as the knights tried to move the rocks with ropes and force, they failed. Then Merlin, using gear and skill, easily dismantled the stones and sent them over to Britain, where Stonehenge was dedicated. After it had been rebuilt near Amesbury, Geoffrey further narrates how Ambrosius, Aurelianus, then Uther Pendragon, and finally Constantine III were buried inside the giant's rings of Stonehenge.
Isn't it interesting that one of the top tourist attractions in Salisbury is the
And you see, so I'm
Salisbury
saying,
Cathedral?
Tartarian
This is clear
style.
Tartarian architecture. Notice that when you see Stonehenge, you mentally attribute Stonehenge with the Druids, which gives you a very primitive perspective of them. Yet, there's a bigger mystery at hand. A mere 7 miles away sits the Salisbury Cathedral, and you think, wow, how amazing is English architecture? Mainstream history tells us that this is post-Roman times. No one visiting would even consider that maybe the two have a connection. Maybe the Druids, the ancient priest of Hyperborea, were responsible for this Tartarian architecture, which is the true representation of their sciences. Could it be like the myths of Merlin that Stonehenge is but a massive set of stones set by the Hyperborea? We know that many monuments were systematically destroyed. Well, the question is, why did they leave Stonehenge? They being the Romans. Well, perhaps it has to do with their perception of our origins. Now, for some of you, you may be wondering, what does this have to do with Christianity? Everything. For what is being unveiled is the source in which your religion sprang. It's not just Christianity. We have people that claim they know everything that there is to know about Egypt. We have biased thinking. People are not creative in the way they think anymore. Let me explain. Someone who is a Christian for 20 years will be very hesitant to look into information that leads to the idea that Christianity came from paganism. We have to stop with this if we are willing to move forward as spiritual beings. We have to look at our shadow.
So essentially, did y'all hold on a second? I'm about to doggone thing. That music about putting me to sleep. But essentially, man, if y'all want to come up and y'all want to talk on a topic, y'all can. Y'all can come up and y'all can speak. Yeah, it has multi guests. If y'all want to come up and y'all want to speak on the topic, you can go on ahead. And y'all let me know in the comments, man, what y'all learned and stuff like that. For anybody that want to go and watch this video, watch the rest of this video, you can. You can go check it out. But yeah, you guys can come up, you guys can speak. It is open, the request on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and you want to come up, you can go on TikTok, and it has a little multi-guest over here on the side where I can see you guys pop up and stuff like that. I can see you guys come up. And let me know, man. Y'all let me know in the chat what y'all learned. If y'all learned anything, you know, put some feathers in the chat. See if you found any connecting pieces that now you're gonna go look into and research about the ancient Druids, about, you know, our origin, Hyperborea, the black sun, you know, the serpent, wisdom, etc., etc. Put some feathers in the chat, man. I know I got a lag too. And I need to see the feathers in the chat. It also lets me know that y'all can hear me and that y'all, you know what I'm saying, being active and stuff like that. Hey, can y'all hear me? I'm gonna end it, man. I'm gonna end it if y'all can't hear me. Can y'all hear me? Testing, 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 testing. Can you guys hear me? All right. I ain't about to stay on here. Y'all can't hear me. Go ahead and end that. Can y'all hear me on TikTok? Yeah, they wasn't being active on. I mean, on YouTube, they wasn't being active on TikTok. At the end of that, y'all know. No, I'm gonna let y'all know something. Nobody gonna do me like that. Nobody gonna do me like that. Either people gonna put some feathers in the chat, or I won't be going live. I'll just do videos like TikTok. Y'all see, I'm already going off that, but we got to keep the energy right, man. Y'all gotta give people. They gotta give energy back to me. This is not on TikTok, man. They not gonna do me like that. I don't know, because I spend days to give them that information like that. They don't be showing love like YouTube, man. They need to, you know, treat a brother right. Can't be getting more love from other nations. That's just not okay. Rebuke them devils, you know, them evil spirits that try to do the crabs in the barrel mentality. All right. Hey, yo, thank you guys for coming. I will probably be going live again, maybe in the next, I don't know, like 2 hours or something like that. Yeah, it's probably still lagging. I'll probably be going live in the next maybe like 3 hours or something. I know it's lagging. And another thing, I might just be going live on here and just do the recording on TikTok. That's what I might do. But then again, you guys won't be able to see me. Because I don't know if you guys was able to see me or not. I really don't know. I really don't know if y'all was able to see me. I know on TikTok they was able to see me. On here y'all was just able to just, listen and stuff like that.